Hello, it's me, Michael Tic Tac, and today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to see if Giovanni, the leader of the very first evil organization, Team Rocket, has what it takes to conquer the entire region of Paldea. We're talking defeating every gym leader and becoming champion, slaying every titan in the game, dismantling our rivals Team Star, and while we're at it, we'll head to Area Zero and beat up Professor Turo. And of course, we'll be doing all of this with Hardcore Nuzlocke rules as shown on the screen now. Right, with that out of the way, let's begin. Okay, we have a little bit of a problem. You see, Director Clavel has some Pokemon for us, but none of these guys have ever been owned by Giovanni. Thankfully, we're an underground criminal leader, so yeah. Hello? This is Giovanni, and I need you to smuggle in a Pokemon into Paldea for me. But sir, isn't that cheating? Well, yeah, but I'm Giovanni. You think I care about cheating? Good point. Sending one over now. Ah, that's better. Let's go, Rhyhorn. Now you're probably wondering why I didn't choose Meowth, right? Well, it's simple really. Giovanni never technically used a Meowth, he's always had a Persian. So we'll have to wait until the level cap allows us to get our hands on our favorite cat. Our first real test is right outside the gates of Messagoza, when Nemona decides that she wants to battle. First up is Fuecoco, however it's nothing that a couple of smackdowns from Rhyhorn can't deal with. Next in is her Pawmi, who could have been a threat after terrestrializing, but this thing only knows Thunder Shock, a move that has no effect on us. So yeah, you die now. We enter Messagoza, and it's not long until we run into a couple of thugs from our rival gang, Team Star. I'm not in the business of helping people out for free, but I'll make an exception this time. Rhyhorn, eliminate this gumshoes for me, please. Well done. Now that we've given our rivals a taste of what's to come, we can enter the academy to collect our three main tasks we need to conquer the region. First up is the Path of Legends quest, given to us by Arvin. Then we find Nemona, who can give us the Victory Road quest. Last, but certainly not least, I have a rat in Team Star helping me take them out from the inside, the Starfall Street quest. So with all our missions given to us, we can finally make some progress in the game, starting with Katie and her bugs in Contondo City. But first, we need to fix this horrible nature that Rhyhorn has. Thankfully, just outside Contondo City, in one of the fields here, we can get our hands on an adamant mint, which is actually perfect. Okay, time to take on Katie. She leads with a Nimble, who can hit us with a Struggle Bug for pathetic damage, while we respond with a huge smackdown, crushing the Grasshopper and tactically leveling up, boosting our stats. In comes a Tarantula, who can actually survive a smackdown from us, although the incoming Bug Bite is no threat at all, meaning we can eliminate the Spider on the next turn. Last is a Teddiursa, and a Fury Cutter hits a little harder than expected, but we retaliate with a smackdown on the bear, bringing it below half its health. Rhyhorn can then take another Fury Cutter to the face before delivering one final smackdown, securing the KO and getting the win over Katie. Being a gym leader seems kind of fun. Perhaps I'll give it a try one of these days. Now that we've got our hands on the gym badge, I want to try crushing something else. So let's go see what these Titan Pokemon are all about. The first one is the Stony Cliff Titan, which is just a giant crab. Nevertheless, we approach the big fella and we take it on. The fight starts and Clorf goes for a block on Rhyhorn, which doesn't matter as we couldn't switch even if we wanted to. Rhyhorn then goes for a Bulldoze, dealing some big damage to the crab. This time the crab goes for a Rock Smash, which does hurt a bit, but we just bulldoze the thing for a second time and we watch it as it tries to flee for its pathetic life. I have no intentions of showing any mercy, so we follow it down and we corner the Titan for the second phase. The plan doesn't change and we just continue to bulldoze our way through this fight, even taking out Arvin's shoulder, who was there to help us out. Eventually we can take out the Titan and watch it shrink into nothing, giving us the win and one of Arvin's useless badges. Hey ladies and gentlemen, just quickly, if you are enjoying the video and you want to show some love to the channel, I would really appreciate it if you could drop a like and click that subscribe button below. Thank you. Artisan City is not too far away, which is also conveniently the location of the next gym leader, Brassius, and his grass types. And well, Rhyhorn ain't exactly the best Pokemon for a grass type gym, so let's recruit another Pokemon. Funny enough, just outside the city, we can run into a Murkrow, who just so happens to be the perfect Pokemon for our next task. And if you're wondering if Giovanni ever used this evolution line, well, the answer is yes. Back in Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Giovanni used a Honchkrow in his team, so yeah, that's good enough for me. We enter the gym, watch as the gym leader jumps off the windmill, and then we can begin the battle. Brassius leads with a Petty Lil, who is simply wing attack to its death. Smoliv drops in, only to share the same fate, being wing attack to death. Last is his Ace Sudowoodo, and because of this thing's high defense stat, we actually go for a Gust, dealing okay damage, while we can eat a Trial Blaze with ease. A second Gust brings the Sudowoodo low, while another Trial Blaze poses no real threat to us. One last Gust can land, which will secure the kill and give us the victory over Brassius. Things have been going rather smoothly for us so far, but next up we have one of the most menacing titans in the game to fight, Bombardier. Well, that is normally what I would say, but I have a Rhyhorn. You see, Bombardier does insignificant damage to our rocky companion, whilst our Smackdown deals devastating blows. After 3 of them, the bird has had enough and he tries to escape, but that's not going to happen. Now, it does have a cheeky snack on some herbs, powering itself up, coming back for some more, but this time we have Arven's Knackley helping us out, meaning the poor bird never stood a chance, even with the boost, and eventually falls to our Smackdowns. Yeah, it was that easy. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about time we pay those Team Star frauds a visit. To even enter the star base, we actually need 3 Pokemon in our party, so let's hatch an egg. And if you're wondering if Giovanni ever used this evolution line, you've got to go back all the way to Pokemon Black and White 2, where Giovanni included a Gliscor in his team. We aren't done yet though, as we can go on an adventure, and just over here we can locate a Duskstone, which we waste no time using, evolving Murkrow into a powerful Honchkrow. Then we can jump up here and collect ourselves a TM for acrobatics, which is huge for our bird. Last but not least, we can go to the Delibird shop here and purchase a Razorfang, so Gligar can evolve, and oh, it looks like we can't actually do that. Okay, so I looked it up, and this item can't be found in Paldea, as it's only in Kitakami, so it looks like he's staying the way he is for now. To make up for it, we then make our way here, where we can pick up the Brick Break TM, which will come in handy for the Giacomo fight. Speaking of Giacomo, let's take him on. Gligar takes the lead, and a single quad-effective Brick Break can obliterate the Pawniard in a single hit. The Starmobile now enters the battlefield, so I switch in Rhyhorn, who can take the incoming Wicked Talk well. This time it goes for a Metal Sound, which can annoyingly drop our special defense, while we go for a Bulldoze, doing minimal damage, but it does slow down the car. Rhyhorn can then dodge a Snarl, which is great, as we can get off another Bulldoze, chipping away at the Starmobile, and continuing to slow it down. Now the Snarl does hit, bringing us all the way down to just 7 HP. Rhyhorn responds with a third Bulldoze, dealing some more damage, and then gets out of there, while Honchkrow can come in, who gets hit with a Wicked Talk, which, of course, puts our bird to sleep. The Starmobile then goes for a Metal Sound, dropping his special defense, making him vulnerable. Not liking that, Gligar comes back in, taking a Swift on the switch. We actually outspeed, and a Brick Break does respectable damage, while a Wicked Talk comes our way. A second Brick Break brings the car below half its health, while it goes for a Metal Sound, dropping our special defense. Playing it safe, Honchkrow comes back in, eating a Snarl like it's nothing. Now a Metal Sound can miss the Honchkrow, but we're still snoozing, unable to attack. Honchkrow then takes a Swift to the face, and unfortunately is still asleep, unable to do anything. Another Swift comes our way, which sucks, but we finally wake up, and an Acrobatics can hit the car hard. Now Gligar comes back in, taking a Swift with ease, and then can Brick Break the Starmobile, taking it out, and getting ourselves our first Team Star win. Laventia City is our next destination, as this is where we can find Iono, who holds the electric gym badge we need. Before we can even take on the streamer, Nemona ambushes us at the gym reception, so let's deal with her first. Gligar's in the lead, and a Brick Break can bring a Rockruff to its knees, while the dog goes for a howl. A second Brick Break can land, getting the first KO. Pawmi pops in next, and we just go for another Brick Break, while the Rodent uses a charge, powering himself up. I decided to bring in Rhyhorn, who gets tickled by a bite on the switch. Pawmi then goes for a dig, which is a problem, as our Bulldoze will now miss. Wanting to avoid taking damage, Honchkrow tags in, as he's immune to the dig, and then Night Slashes the Pawmi away. Finally, it's Crocola, who does Terrestrialize and land a massive Incinerate on our bird, while an Acrobatics in return deals massive damage back. Rhyhorn comes back in, taking an Incinerate, and then he gets yawned, making him drowsy, before eliminating the Crocodile with a dig. Now, before we do go take on Iono, we actually go and beat up 5 trainers here in Asada Desert, as once we do this, we can speak to the lovely gentleman here who will give us the TM for Earthquake. Yes, the best move possible for the next gym. Speaking of the next gym, let's go beat up Iono. Gligar leads, and a Rock Tomb does good damage to the Watch Roll, who then responds back with a Pluck. Our second Rock Tomb decides to miss, which sucks as we take another Pluck to the face. Thankfully, on our third attempt, it does land, getting the first KO of the battle. Belly Bolt drops in now, but this fat frog can do nothing as a super effective critical Earthquake eliminates him from the game. Luxio is our next Pokemon, and thanks to our ability Hyper Cutter, we don't have our attack dropped by the Intimidate, meaning a single Earthquake can now take out the cap. Last is Erasmus Magius, who is immune to Earthquakes thanks to its ability Levitate. It goes for a Confuse Ray, which is annoying, while we go for a Poison Tail for minimal damage. I decide to switch in our boy Hunchcrow, and a few Night Slashes later from our bird is enough to send the Electrical Ghost back to the afterlife. Once again, I want to turn my attention to Team Star as they need to be brought down a peg or two. Mela is the closest base to where I am, so it only makes sense to start there. Oh yeah, before I forget, my Diglett does evolve into a Dugtrio. We start the fight with Mela, and I have Rhyhorn lead, going for a dig, burying himself underground. This move will torture till there ain't nothing but ash left. Wow, that was anticlimactic. A dig hits on the next turn, which unfortunately is not quite a two-shot, but a flame wheel from the turtle barely tickles us. Two more digs can get the job done, and we remain relatively healthy thanks to the leftovers we're holding. The Starmobile now shows its face, and it can miss its screech while we can go underground thanks to a dig. An overheat will obviously miss now, as we can hit the car hard with a dig. This time the overheat does land, but we take the hit well, where we can dig again, getting some extra leftovers recovery, while hitting the car for some good damage. We rinse and repeat, and after a few more digs from our, Rhino, I guess? Rhyhorn is inspired from a rhinoceros, right? Well, whatever it is, the car is beaten and Mel is defeated. Our next task has us tired in hunting again, and this time it's a giant Orthworm that we need to slay. Gligar is in charge, and we go for a Brick Break, which doesn't do as much as I thought it would, but the incoming Headbutt doesn't hurt much also. We continue to trade blows, while taking advantage of leftovers to recover our HP, which allows us to outlast a giant worm in the first round. Thankfully, the second phase should now be even easier, as we have Arvin and his Toadstool to help us out. Well, isn't that just great? We stay in and we go for Brick Breaks, slowly chipping away at the Orthworm until we get hit by a critical Iron Tail, bringing us low and forcing us to switch. Honchcrow enters the fold and can dodge an incoming Iron Tail upon coming in. We go for a Night Slash, doing respectable damage, while a Wrap comes our way, doing minimal damage back. Another Night Slash can land on the Worm, while it goes for a Sandstorm, and oh, my controller battery is getting low. Well, that's random. This time our Night Slash is a critical hit, bringing the worm to the brink of death while it struggles, going for a Wrap. One last Night Slash can land and put an end to the lurking Steel Titan, giving us the victory. The gym challenge is now a priority, so we head to the tropical city of Cascarafa. The moment we arrive, Kofu the coward decides to flee the city, although I don't blame him. We can track him down pretty easily, and then eliminate his bodyguard without breaking a sweat before he heads back to town. Now, before I do take him on, I think it's about time we add the most important Pokemon to our team, Meowth. But we don't stop there, as we head all the way back to the start of the game, and it is here where we can find some low-level Psyducks. And for every one of these chubby yellow ducks we defeat, we get 1 EV point towards our special attack stat. So after spending way too much time putting the Psyduck population on the verge of extinction, we can practically max out our special attack EVs. From here, we can just travel all the way to the snowy region of Paldea, and under this tree here is a modest mint, which will boost our special attack even further. Finally, we can get our hands on the TM for Thunderbolt, which is perfect for our newest party member and the next gym. Last but not least, we can evolve our Meowth, becoming Giovanni's iconic Persian. Oh, and we actually do pick up a magnet, which is conveniently at the Delibird shop right at Cascarafa. With all our preparations complete, we're now ready to take on Kofu. Persian starts things off, going for a fake out, making the Veluza flinch, allowing us to follow up with a huge super effective Thunderbolt, ending the fish's life. Wugtrio is in next, but Persian can simply outspeed and Thunderbolt this monstrosity to its grave. Crabominable is Kofu's last Pokemon, and this thick crab does survive a Thunderbolt and then responds with a Rock Smash, leaving us on just a measly 7 HP. Thankfully, we can go for a second Thunderbolt, which can fry the crab to the afterlife, giving us the win. Teen Star is now back on my radar with the Toxic Ninja Atticus, the one I plan on taking out next. Now, before I pay him a visit, I want to train up my Dugtrio on these flamingos here. Similar to the side ducks that I was slaughtering beforehand, for each flamingo I take out, they will give me 2 EVs towards my attack stat. After eliminating every single pink bird I come across, Dugtrio is now ready to wreak havoc. We start off going for a protect as we want to still like the sucker punch PP, which will make it fail. Sticking to the plan, we go for another protect, which actually comes through, and it ends up mattering as the Skuntank goes for a toxic. Because of this, I don't want to risk being poisoned, so we go straight for an earthquake, which pays off as it doesn't sucker punch, meaning we can end its life with ease. Reverum is next in, but we're just too fast and too strong, crushing it with a quad effective earthquake. Now it's Muck, but this pile of gunk can do nothing as we earthquake it to its demise. Last but not least is the Starmobile, who can outspeed and hit us with a spin out while also slowing itself down. We can now respond with an earthquake, but it's not quite a 2-shot, which means we need to change our plans. Gligo drops in while taking a spin out well on the switch. From here we can simply earthquake the Starmobile, bringing it into the red before taking one more spin out from the car. And now, one final earthquake is all it takes to crush the car and send it straight to the junkyard, giving us the win. Our squad is looking a little thin at the moment, so we go on a search and we can hunt down a hippopotamus. Then after a little bit of grinding, our baby hippo can become a big hippo, making him even more useful. With our new and improved team, we can head to the restaurant at Medali City, which for some reason is also where the gym battle takes place. Larry's our opponent and he leads with his koala, who can just barely survive a brick break from Gligar, meaning it can make us drowsy with a yawn. We just follow up with another brick break, which can end the koala's life, although we do get put to sleep. But I came prepared for that, holding a Chesto Berry, waking us straight up. The Dunsparce drops in now, and a brick break does decent damage, while the Fat Snake can paralyze us with a glare, which does suck. A Hyper Drill then comes our way, which hurts a bit, but thankfully, we can get off a second brick break on the Dunsparce. Needing to switch, Hippodon comes in and takes a huge critical Hyper Drill, which is not great. Not having a choice, we stay in, taking another massive hit from the snake before making it drowsy with a yawn. This time it's Honchkrow who comes in, and it annoyingly glares our poor bird, which paralyzes us, although it does fall asleep in the process. This allows Honchkrow to hit back with an acrobatics, ending its life. Larry only has his Staraptor now, who comes in and intimidates us. A Terrestrialized Facade does massive damage to us, but even with our lowered attack, an Acrobatics hits pretty hard as well. Rhyhorn needs to switch in, eating a Facade reasonably well in the process, but ultimately can end the life of the Staraptor with a couple of big digs, giving us the victory over Larry. Normally we would get a little break between battles, but Nemona thinks she's clever, forcing us into a battle without a chance to make any preparations. She leads with Lycan Rock, who can hit Gligar with an Acceler Rock, but it does pathetic damage, while an Earthquake can eliminate the Wolf. Gumi is next in, so I have Gligar go for a U-turn, dealing damage, and then swapping in for Dugtrio, who then get hit by a Water Pulse for big damage and gets confused. Because of this, Persia makes her way in, taking a Dragon Pulse upon entering the field. Our cat can then go for a Fake Out, doing some chit damage while also flinching the Slimy Dragon, allowing us to follow up with a Bite, taking it out. Nemona brings in her Pawmi, so this allows me to bring in Hippo for free as we're immune to a Thunder Wave. The Rotor then hits us for pitiful damage with a quick attack before we obliterate the mouse with a huge dig. Her final Pokemon is Skeledirge, who can hit us hard with a Torch Song while also powering itself up. Trying to slow it down, we go for a Yawn, making the Crocodile drowsy. Now we can simply protect on the next turn and watch it fall asleep. From here we can go for 2 digs, which is more than enough to take out the final Pokemon and give us the win over the Nemona. Our next task has us traveling all the way to the Snowy Mountains to take on the next gym leader, but before we go there, there's actually another Pokemon that will come in handy against the ghost types that we have coming up, and that is Sandile. Then we actually have a picnic in this specific location here, making ourselves a hand sandwich, which will boost the encounter rate of normal type Pokemon. This will spawn a bunch of Chanseys and Blissies for us to take out and level up real quick. And by using this method, Sandile can evolve into a Crocrock, and then not long after, he can become a menacing crocodile. Perfect. Let's take on Rhyme. Mimikyu goes first, slashing our Crocodile for minimal damage, while he can respond with a massive crunch, taking out her Banette. Then, thanks to his ability Moxie, he gets a power boost, raising his attack. Honchkrow then goes for a Night Slash, which can then break the Mimikyu's disguise. The crowd then cheers us on for taking out one of Rhyme's Pokemon, which then makes both my Pokemon even stronger. This time the Mimikyu takes aim at Honchkrow, hitting our bird with a slash, while the crocodile stays aggressive, crunching her Houndstone back to its grave. Honchkrow then gets its revenge on the Mimikyu with a Night Slash, but it's not quite enough to get the KO. Rhyme now brings in Toxtricity, and because I want to keep Honchkrow safe, I bring in Hippowdon. Toxtricity then terrestrializes into a ghost type, only to get crunched by Crocodile, becoming a real ghost. One last crunch from a Crocodile on the Mimikyu can get the KO and secure the win over Rhyme. Our next battle has us going up against the Quaking Earth Titan in Asada Desert. But before we take on the oversized elephant, I want to give Rhyhorn some love. First things first, our little guy can evolve into a powerful Rhydon. Then, after beating up some trainers, this gentleman here can give us the Eviolite, basically making Rhydon unkillable. With our newest monster at our disposal, we're ready to take on the next Titan, Iron Treads. The robot elephant starts off with a rapid spin, which barely tickles us, while a bulldoze can delete a large chunk of the HP from the Iron Treads. A second spin out lands, which is absolutely fine as we go for a second bulldoze, bringing the Titan to the brink of death, and then ultimately having it flee for its life. But not on my watch, buddy. The second phase begins, but things only get worse for the Titan, as now we have Scorvillian chipping in with Fire Fangs, while we're still hitting hard with bulldozers. We keep the pressure on until eventually the Titan is destroyed and shrinks into nothing. The gym challenge once again becomes our priority, so we head all the way to Alphanada City, where we can take on the psychic specialist, Tulip. Well, that was the plan, but Nemona can't seem to get enough of taking L after L from us, so let's give her another one quickly. Crocodile starts off, and a single dig can obliterate her Lycanroc while having our attack boost thanks to Moxie. Now it's Sligo, and we crunch the slimy dragon to its demise. Pormont's arm thrusts do actually hurt a bit, but we hold on and just send it packing with a dig. Her final Pokemon is Skeledirge, but it's nothing a super effective dig can't handle, sending it to an early grave and giving us another W over Nemona. With the small fry out of the way, we can now turn our attention to Tulip. Crocodile leads, and a crunch is just short from KOing the giraffe, while it copies us, going for a crunch of its own, but barely doing any damage. This means a second crunch from our menacing Croc can get the KO, and a Moxie boost to make him even stronger. Gardevoir's next in, and somehow it does survive a crunch from us, and then hits back insanely hard with a dazzling gleam, almost taking us out. Thankfully, we do outspeed, and a second crunch eliminates this menace while we slowly get some health back with leftovers. Espartha is faster, but a Shadow Ball can't do any damage to us, while a crunch sends a bird back to KFC. Last is a Florges, who does us a favor by terrestrializing, meaning a crunch is now super effective and one-shots the flower, giving us the victory over Tulip. With Tulip defeated, all that stands in our way in collecting all 8 gym badges is Grusha. So we travel all the way back to the snowy mountains of Paldea, slide through some flags for the gym challenge. Oh, actually we do head to the Delibird shop and purchase a Wildlands, which we can use to increase our moves accuracy. After all of that, we finally go face to face with Grusha, and well, just watch. Yep, that was the final gym leader, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we could technically make our way to the Pokemon League, beat up the Elite Four and their champion Gita, but I have some unfinished business with these weaklings known as Team Star. Ortega is the next boss on my list, so we raid his fairy base and we force him into a battle. Persian hasn't had much love so far, so my cat takes charge, going for a nasty pot, doubling his special attack stat before a play rough comes our way and hurts a bit more than I would have thought. We do recover some HP with leftovers and then hit the water rabbit with a big thunderbolt, taking it out. Wigglytuff enters, and this time I go for a stab Terra Blast, which doesn't do enough to get the KO. But thankfully, this thing misses its play rough, which ultimately will cost her life, as a second Terra Blast will get the kill. Dashbun now jumps in, and not taking any more risks, I terrestrialize Persian before going for a Terra Blast, which can guarantee the one shot on the dog. Last is the Starmobile, and a Terra Blast does good damage, but it's not enough to two-shot the car, while a Steel Roller on the other hand almost gets the kill. Rhydon makes a switch, eating a spin out with ease, and then getting confused with a Confuse Ray before earthquaking the car for some big damage. This time we're hit with a Magical Torque, which is completely fine, as one more earthquake from our Rhydon is enough to crush the car and get the win over Ortega. There is only one more Team Stun member left for us to deal with, but I'll get to Eerie in due time. For now, I want to slay the final title of the game. Well, there's technically 2 left. the False Dragon Titans. The first phase just has Persian going for a couple of Thunderbolts on the giant Dodonzo, which is more than enough to force the fish to retreat. Then we just follow the fat fish, watching him power up, and then continue to Thunderbolt him, all while Ivan's Greedent chips in with some takedowns. One more Thunderbolt can land, and we can put this thing out of its misery for good this time. The second Titan is the Tatsugiri, and this time a Thunderbolt does pathetic damage, but it does come in clutch, paralyzing the piece of sushi. We continue to chip away at it with Thunderbolts for small damage, while Ivan's Greedent helps out with takedowns, slowly wearing down the Tatsugiri. A Dragon Pulse does bring Persian dangerously low on health, while the Greedent keeps up the pressure with another takedown. Playing it safe, Honchkrow comes in while the Tatsugiri targets the Greedent with a Dragon Pulse and then gets hit back hard with another takedown. On the next turn, our bird can go for an acrobatics, obliterating the Titan and sending it to its watery grave. With all the gym leaders defeated, all I have left to do before the end game is to eliminate the final Team Star base and their leader, Eerie. Gligar leads, and the Toxicroak Sucker Punch fails as we go for a Swords Dance, doubling our attack stat. It then tries its luck with another Sucker Punch, but we simply Swords Dance again, getting even stronger. Still not learning his lesson, it Sucker Punches one more time, but we just dance for a third time, maxing out our attack stats, becoming unstoppable. On the fourth turn, it can actually hit us with a Sucker Punch, but it's a little too late now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the time has finally come for us to head towards the Pokemon League building and take on the Elite Four. Our first hurdle is a Ground-type specialist Rika, who, in my opinion, is an embarrassment of a Ground-type master. She leads with a Whiscash, and I have my Crocodile take charge, going for an Earthquake, which is so close to the KO, but it doesn't matter, as her Fish goes for a Muddy Water, which will miss. This means a second Earthquake can get the KO on the Whiscash, while giving us a power-up thanks to Moxie. Camera Up is in next, but yeah, one Earthquake from our angry reptile is enough to eliminate it. Now it's Donphan, which does have Sturdy, so we just go for a low kick, deleting about half its health, while an Earthquake from the elephant hits back hard. But it's okay, as on the next turn we go for an Earthquake, sending the Donphan to its grave. Dugtrio now shows its face, but it wastes its turn, going for a Sandstorm, allowing us to just Earthquake it to its demise. Last is a Clodsar, who does try to stall us with a Protect on the first turn, but we just follow up with another Earthquake, sending this thing straight back to Rika. In comes Poppy, and I know she's a child, but I don't care, let's take her out. Poppy leads with a Copperaja, but this thing can do nothing but fall to an Earthquake while boosting our attack thanks to Moxie. Now it's Corviknight, and our Fire Fang does big damage to the metal bird, while it responds with an Iron Defense, boosting its physical defense stats. But it's not enough, as a second Fire Fang can melt the Corviknight away. Bronzong pops in, and we go for a Fire Fang, which annoyingly misses. Okay, I just realized that I should have gone for a Crunch, as it is Stab, super effective, and 100% accuracy, so yeah, not sure why I didn't. Bronzong then hits us hard with an Iron Head, but thankfully we take the hit well. This time the Fire Fang does hit, but it's not quite enough to get the kill, which means we take another Iron Head from the Bell. At this point I realize I should have used Crunch, which will obviously take out the Giant Bell. Magnezone has Sturdy, meaning it will survive an Earthquake, while it sets up a Light Screen, which is completely fine. A second Earthquake can land, eliminating the Magnezone and forcing Poppy to bring in her final Pokemon, Tinkaton. Surprisingly, the Tinkaton can outspeed, going for a Play Rough, which does hurt, but we do survive the hit and can Earthquake the Steel Fairy to oblivion, defeating Poppy. Our next challenger is none other than Larry, who has ditched the normal types for a bunch of birds. Persian gets some more love, taking the lead, and goes for a Nasty Plot, doubling her special attack stat, while the Tropius goes for a Sunny Day, which is completely fine. And well, from here, we just sweep. Gita's last line of defense is Hassel and his dragons, so let's deal with him now. Hippowdon leads and gets hit for exactly half his HP from a Super Fang, but we hit back the Noivern with a huge, quite effective Ice Fang, taking it out. Dragalge is next in, so we pivot into Honchkrow, who can survive the incoming Hydro Pump. Then we pivot again, this time bring in Crocodile, as we are immune to the Thunderbolt. From here, one Earthquake is all we need to eliminate the Poisonous Dragon, while getting a Moxie boost. Now it's Flapple, but one Dragon Claw later can deal with this piece of of fruit. Haxorus does outspeed, but we can take the Dragon Claw well, while we also respond with our own Dragon Claw, which can eliminate the dragon. Last is his Ace Excalibur, and for some reason, this thing is faster than us, going for a Glaive Rush, but our Crocodile is not a quitter, surviving on just 1 HP before Dragon Clawing this monster to the afterlife, defeating Hassel and the Elite Four. And now finally, we have earned the right to head outside and take on the chairman herself, Gita. She leads with a Sparta, who goes for a Reflect, while Honchkrow hits hard with a Night Slash, dealing over half the Emu's health of HP. This time we're hit with a Dazzling Gleam, which does hurt, but we stay strong, finishing off Gita's first Pokemon with a second Night Slash. King Gambit is next, so I bring in Hippowdon, who can dodge a Stone Age upon entry. This time it goes for a Kato Cleave, which hurts a bit, while we retaliate with an Earthquake, which doesn't do too much, thanks to the Reflect. Another Kato Cleave leaves our Hippo vulnerable, while it goes for a second Earthquake, bringing the King Gambit to its knees. Now it's time to bring in the MVP, Crocodile, who eats up a Kato Cleave with ease as he comes in. Now he goes for a Hone Claws, powering himself up even more, while King Gambit hits pretty hard with an Iron Head. But we do survive the hit, so one low kick later can crush the King while activating my Moxie ability, making us even stronger. Gogota's Gita's next Pokemon, but a single punch from our Croc can eliminate the farm animal. Veluza is next to try and save the day, but it just ends up being lunch for Crocodile, who can crunch the fish. Ivlag could have been a threat if it came out earlier, but now a single super effective low kick can crush the slab of ice. Last is Erase Glamora, who also actually outspeeds, and a Dazzling Gleam brings us all the way down to 5 HP. Yeah, that was close, but you die now, buddy. Gita has now been defeated, and we're now a champion-ranked trainer. But don't go anywhere just yet, as you know, there's one last challenge that awaits us, and that is Professor Turo at the bottom of Area 0. Now, to even get a chance to take on the cyborg, we must first trigger a cutscene at the lighthouse where he's asking for our help. From here, we need to beat up Arvin and his Mabostiff, which will finish off the Path of Legends questline we had. Then it's Director Clavel and his Meowscarada at the academy that we defeat, as well as Penny and her Sylveon, which will complete the Starfall Street questline. Finally, we have one last tussle with Nemona, crushing a Skeledirge, and finishing off the final quest, Victory Road. All that we need to do now is head to the center of Paldea, where we can fly down to the bottom of Area 0 on my Miraidon with the rest of the gang. Now we simply make our way down further and further until we finally reach the Professor's lab entrance. Once inside, we find the Professor, who is an AI robot, and we follow him down to the deepest part of Area 0, where the final battle will take place. Turo starts off by dropping in his Iron Moth, but this is nothing that a quad-effective Earthquake from Crocodile can't handle, getting the first kill. Iron Hands is next in, and it goes for a fake out, flinching us. We then go for a super effective Earthquake, and even with our Moxie boost, this thick boy can survive and hit us insanely hard with a Drain Punch. We then respond with a second Earthquake, which lands, securing the kill of the Hariyama clone. Iron Thorns now drops in, which is perfect, as a quad effective Earthquake could have killed this thing twice if it needed to. Iron Bundle is a bit of a problem, as it does outspeed and goes for a Freeze Dry, ultimately giving us our first death of the run. Persian comes in, and this time the Iron Bundle goes for a Snowscape, making it snow, while our cat can hit it insanely hard with a Thunderbolt. A Freeze Dry comes our way, but we can survive the hit, before sending this Delibird from Timu straight back to the future. Iron Juggless is also a threat, so Hippo comes in, taking a Dark Pulse to the face upon entering the field. Then we take another Dark Pulse, which does hurt, while we go for an Ice Fang, dealing good damage back. Wanting to keep the Hippo alive, Honchkrow comes in, and a Dark Pulse doesn't hurt too much. Now we take an Air Slash, which would have been fine if we didn't flinch. Because of this, I have no choice but to leave our bird in to ultimately fall to a second Air Slash. Persian can come in again, getting some revenge and thunderbolting the fake Hydreigon to its demise. Last, but certainly not least, is Iron Valiant, who Persian can Terra Blast for some pretty big damage, but will take a Brick Break, literally breaking our cat in half. Not messing around anymore, in comes Rhydon to clean this mess up. The Iron Valiant does try its best with a critical, super effective Brick Break, but we laugh off the attack and then send this thing to its grave with an Earthquake, defeating Professor Turo and completing the challenge. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.